The Second Battle of Ypres, fought between the German Fourth Army and the Allied forces, was a battle for the Germans to secure a valuable high ground in Belgium. It would later go from horrific bullets and blood to a haunting, suffocating, burning gas. The Germans had deployed a chemical known as chlorine gas, which ultimately would become everybody's worst enemy. In this video, I will not explain how World War I started, or dive in depth on any country's history. What I will talk about is certain things about World War I that played a crucial role in modern development. This video will be split up into multiple parts: Kaiser, the weaponry and sciences, and the costs. Weaponry and sciences will be split up into 4 parts: tanks, trenches, artillery, and chemicals. Kaiser Wilhelm II was the leader of Germany from 1888 to 1918 and the last king of the German Empire. He was very involved in technology and science, and was described as brilliant at some points by some. This will lead to Fritz Haber, a German chemist and scientist who will be important later, having direct communication and collaboration with the government and military. World War I saw the advancement of many ways of warfare. One notable one was the development of tanks. The first recorded concept of an armored vehicle comes from Da Vinci. Yes, that Da Vinci. The vehicle itself was a wooden conical shape reinforced with metal plates on the inside. The entire vehicle could rotate, allowing for 360-degree firing, along with the multiple slots for cannons to shoot from. The design was a failure, as for the gears to rotate it were reversed, making it highly impractical. More centuries passed and the first tanks for World War I are being made, but they all look, well, obviously like prototypes. They originally just used regular wheels, but caterpillar tracks were starting to be used so they can drive over trenches and have more suspension. The term tank actually came in 1915 as a security measure. Some notable tanks to mention are the Front-Laufley-Troller, I hope I said that right, designed by John Baptiste, which incorporated many machine guns, but never got past experimental, and the massive Cesar tank, which had wheels 30 feet in diameter and included 2 cannons. I feel like anything with Cesar in its name is huge. Anyway, the first tank developed and used in war was by the British, called the Mark I. It could carry 8 crew members and had 2 57mm guns, along with 3 machine guns, and weighed 31 tons. This tank would be followed with Mark II, 3, 4, 3 different 5s, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. However, Mark 6 and 10 never got past concepts. Other countries followed with their tanks, like the Schneider CA by the French, and the A7V by the Germans. The Russians never manufactured a tank in World War I, but there were prototypes, like the previously mentioned Cesar tank, the Vestakhod, and the Mendeleev tank, which was named after a Russian chemist. Tanks were very useful to protect soldiers from guns, small grenades, and to travel over trenches. Speaking of, trench warfare was a type of warfare that would start as a foxhole, a hole in the ground that you could shoot from and take cover. Then would be expanded to form a line diagonal to the opposing force, which can reach a distance of 1 mile. Trenches aren't just dirt alleys though. They can have stations like bunkers, kitchens, command posts, machine guns, and supply storage. The machine guns were their main form of defense, alongside the guns that the soldiers had. Trenches may also have barbed wire fences that stop people/groups from running up into the trench easily. The drawback of trenches was that the bombardments can alert opposing forces and will lead to a stretch of land known as the no man's land, where it'd be almost certain death for you to be careless in. However, if you had a tank, like we just explained before, you would most likely be fine because the machine gun bullets could not puncture or damage the tank severely. The manufacturing of tanks was the beginning of the end of trench warfare. On the topic of machine guns and ammunition, I think it's only appropriate to introduce the next topic. Artillery in World War I can go from a handgun to a large 420mm Big Bertha. I'll not cover all the guns that come out of World War I, but I can share some advancements. Advancements in this time period were that recoil mechanisms were improved to allow for long shooting times and better aim. This was also followed up with an improved reloading mechanism. Gone are the days where you had to shove a metal ball down a tube with a stick and have to do that every time you fired. Now you can simply put a cartridge in and it does that for you. This allowed for the development of machine guns and other rapid-fire guns, which would cause a butterfly effect, causing troops to have to shelter on the battlegrounds, causing trench warfare, causing tanks, and so on. Anyways, you can see how it did improve warfare and make weaponry a lot more effective. Okay, so now we have the complete chain, right? We have people on the ground with guns, people in tanks, people underground, people ruling. Surely there's nothing else that can be more powerful, right? Oh, right. Chemical warfare was by far one of the most horrifying inventions to come out of and be used in World War I. The main gases used were mustard and chlorine gas. The effects of these gases are burning skin, breathing problems, temporary or even permanent blindness, heart palpitations, and more horrific ones that I can only imagine could have been worse if in mass amounts of dumping. There were other ones, but chlorine and mustard gas were the main ones. Do you remember when I told you to remember a few chapters ago? Fritz Haber. He was the one who is believed to have played a significant role in chemical warfare by discovering the chlorine gas's potential in war, which was first used in the Second Battle of Ypres, when the Germans released gas. The Allies were warned that the Germans would release the gas, but the warning was timely. The gas was released, causing panic, but the Allies were told to hold the line, as so not to let the Germans take advantage of the opening as they fled to their shelters. Meanwhile, while still being gassed, around 200 Algerian troops held ground near a road between Ypres and the neighboring town of Potkapelle. They were furthermore reinforced by 2 platoons and a machine gun. This was only a temporary line and was only to stop the Germans from advancing. Later, they moved to a less exposed area, but their efforts were futile as the Germans overpowered them. It was a long-fought battle, and the gas attack was the final blow that allowed the Germans to capture Ypres easier. Sadly, around 69,000 troops died on all sides. The impact of these advancements would be felt during and long after the war too, as families were separated or even destroyed. Ypres didn't just have 2 battles in World War I, they had 5. Overall, World War I had around 15 to 22 million deaths. One can only imagine that was heightened by the technological advancements seen. Those are the topics that I was able to cover. Again, this was a school project, so it's pretty obvious I couldn't spend much time on it, because as you can probably tell, the background has been the same video repeating. I hope to see you later, and I don't want to sound cliche, but peace.